Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was created in the relationship subreddit by a user named Plastic Challenge 98. The post is titled, "I caught my husband cheating last night. I, F27, have been married to my husband, 28, since October. We love each other and it's always been easy. He can be tough to handle sometimes, but I can too. I can't say I even suspected this. Last night I had a couple of drinks and I did something I really shouldn't have. I kept having these thoughts for 2 days straight for absolutely no reason. The urge to check his phone kept telling me. I didn't want to because for absolutely no reason, I felt like I would find something that would cause trouble. I kept trying to fight the urge to do something so shitty until I found his phone in the bathroom and opened it. He was talking to a girl saying, 'Those pants you were wearing yesterday, you wanted to get spanked.' She replied, 'I'm waiting for you,' and the conversation ended with 'I love you.' Now, I don't even know this girl. I confronted him and he said she was a workmate and he didn't act on it. He didn't do anything physical, and he's sorry. Now I feel like absolute shit. How should I approach this? I haven't told my family yet. I'm just sitting here with so many thoughts going on and I don't know what to do. TLDR, my husband is cheating on me and we've been married for less than a year. Is this salvageable? Should I end this? Edit, we've been together since high school. I loved him so much ever since we were kids. It's hard for me to read these comments because dumping him isn't easy for me to read. I know he cheated deep down and I'm starting to think maybe it wasn't the first time. I live in Egypt and divorce is a pretty big thing around here. If I really proceed through that step, it's going to be incredibly hard on me. I love him and I feel like I can't possibly trust him ever again. We've always been happy. I don't know what went wrong. Should I text this girl and confront her? Am I being crazy? This is a open and shut case. Just dump the guy. Cut your losses now. While I understand that OP has been with her husband since they were in school, cheating is an absolute deal breaker. If they did it once, they will do it again. You might as well be in an open relationship if you stick around a partner who cheats. User Sid Nuts said, "You guys haven't even been married a year. I think you should move on because you're still young and have so much life ahead of you. If you forgive him now, he's gonna learn it's okay to do these things and it will never end. Do you believe that nothing physical happened? Because he's proven he isn't a truthworthy person. You should tell someone close to you so you have the support needed to proceed through this. I'm so sorry this happened to you." User Incognito Throwaway said, "Divorce. He's a cheater and liar. You haven't been married long." User Rachy Cakes said, "Don't feel badly. Your instincts picked up on something subconsciously. No kids, no mortgage, not even 12 months. And he's letting his eyes and emotions stray. I don't know the intricacies of your relationship, so I won't speak on that. However, I do know that the work colleague is not going away. Whether he did or did not do anything physical doesn't change the fact that she will still be there and will still be willing to do something in the future. And he will still be tempted. I had a coworker cheat on his wife, with kids, a mortgage, etc. with a coworker. They still work together, they still chat at work, and he still tells me how fine she is in passing. I feel the tension between them to this day, 2 years later. My male coworker has trauma dumped the whole thing on me. Never exchanged. I love you. Do you want your husband working around a weakness? Do you feel comfortable knowing your husband is around this person consistently throughout the week? Do you approve of him acting unprofessionally in what is supposed to be a professional relationship and setting? More importantly than all of that, if you forgive and move forward, how are you going to handle the insecurities that will naturally arise when he is at work? He's gaslighting you to minimize the situation and instead make you feel guilty for checking his phone. Whatever you choose to do, I would like you to not feel like shit for your actions. Feel like shit because it hurts. Feel like shit for the betrayal, but don't feel bad for the actions you took to uncover his infidelity, physical or not." User JNE Nop Nop said, "Time to bounce. I have been with my GF almost 10 years and her happiness is always my #1 priority. I trust her fully and she knows it, and she trusts me fully and I know it. We actually look forward to solving problems together. That's how much we love each other. For any decision I have to make throughout the day, my first consideration is 1, how it will affect her, and 2, whether she will be happy, proud of my actions in her absence. That's what love means to us. You may be different, but your happiness matters and you don't deserve to be hurt and suffer in order to provide happiness to someone who doesn't even treat you with the least bit of respect. GTFO of there. Nobody texts spanks their coworker just for fun. Come on now. This next post was also made in the relationship subreddit by a throwaway account. The post was made just 4 days ago and is titled, "My wife, 26F, has initiated sex with me, 28M, every night since her aunt died. My wife, 26F, and I, 28M, have been married for 4 years and together for 6. Her aunt, who has been like a mother to her whole life, very suddenly and tragically passed away on Thursday. She has been very distraught, crying all day and just being generally very weepy. I'm trying my hardest to support her. She has initiated sex every night since Thursday and it's been good sex, but when we're done, she rolls over and goes to sleep. We have always been an affectionate couple, but this is pretty abnormal for her. I'm not sure how to bring it up or if I should. I want to support her however I need to, but I don't know if this is a healthy coping mechanism. Is this a normal coping mechanism and should I bring it up to her? I'm just very concerned for her. TLDR, my wife is mourning a very special person to her and is using sex as a coping mechanism. I don't know if it's healthy. I personally don't think this is the healthiest way to handle a death, but I can also think of many worse ways. As everyone says, people handle grief in different ways. In a different story that I went over, people shared that apparently having a lot after some bad trauma is surprisingly normal, but deep down I can't help but think that there are better ways to handle emotional pain that don't require you to ride a certain high or feeling of pleasure. Nevertheless, I don't think anything is technically wrong here. As her husband, OP should just go with her flow for now. If he notices that she is starting to resort to other more destructive habits to deal with her stress, that's when he needs to speak up and intervene. The whole point of having a partner is to be able to confide in them when you are in a state of weakness. They feel safe. User Caro Virtuoso said, "It might be unhealthy and self-destructive behavior in response to grief if she were having sex with strangers, but you're her husband. She's safe with you and trusts you, which makes it seem more like a healthy form of distraction. I was taught in DBT therapy that mindful, positive distraction can be a great coping mechanism. If it were me, I wouldn't bring it up as you don't want her to feel embarrassed or rejected by you. She just wants to feel good for a little while as opposed to constantly wallowing in grief and despair. It's perfectly understandable." User GG Disney said the following under this comment, "I love this answer. I just had a major health scare and had to be airlifted to a foreign country all alone. I developed some of these coping mechanisms too. My husband is a saint and therapy told us to look at some of the changes as good. I also have been hitting the gym hard now that I've made a 90% recovery. We've been married 20 plus years and it must have been shocking for my husband also." User Without a Trace blog said, "I don't think this requires you to bring anything up. There could be many thoughts and feelings that could be contributing to this. Oftentimes, death is a wake-up call. It often makes us worry we are wasting our time in this life with our loved ones. Grief can make us love harder or louder at times." User Amiki said, "Yeah, do not bring up the sex. She's got a lot on her mind and I promise you that having her husband bring up her drive in a concerned manner is not going to help her emotional state. Don't get me wrong, it probably does have something to do with her grief, and I can tell you're just genuinely concerned for her well-being, but unless you aren't okay with having sex, don't say anything. If you aren't feeling sex, definitely say so, and offer her other forms of intimacy, but only relate the no to your own feelings and needs, not some interpretation of hers. Understand that she might not feel like cuddling either. Grief is just weird, man. What she needs may change as she processes. You can support her by looking around for things to take off her plate while she processes this huge loss and just loving her in whatever way she needs right now." User Miss Data Princess said, "As a woman, I also process my feelings that way. The more stressed or upset I am, the more I desire that closeness and a happy ending. It sometimes even weirds myself out, but we all have our coping mechanisms, I suppose. As long as it's not harming her in any way or make you uncomfortable, give her some time and it should normalize soon. If you feel like she is not dealing with the grief after a while, you can have a supportive conversation with her inquiring what you can do to support her and how she is feeling." User Pink Pier said, "It's probably not healthy, but it's how she's coping right now, and rather with her husband than a stranger. So unless you're uncomfortable, let her work it out herself for now. It's not even been a week, so leave her to cope how she needs to for now." The final post for today was made by user NoEducator757 in the relationship subreddit. The post is titled I am M40 and my wife's F35 career choice has turned into a social event. We've been married 10 years and don't know what to do. What is the next step for me? My wife and I have been married for 10 years and we really do have an amazing relationship. We have 2 beautiful kids and a nice home. I own my own business and things are great. We have a great sex life and a social life outside of our family life with the kids. My wife, after years in various parts of the industry, got her real estate license about 4 years ago. It was something to fill time, keep busy, and make a little extra income. The company that she's been with for the last 2 or 3 years has a real emphasis on social networking events, and it has caused a rift between us. I have attended 1 or 2 of these events, and I've left them all with a troubling feeling. I would say 9 out of the 10 people I met rubbed me the wrong way. Many of them are very self-absorbed, could only talk about themselves and their success, and are very flirtatious with my wife. To be fair, she is incredibly attractive, approachable, and friendly. The last few events that my wife has attended resulted in her coming home late and involved excessive drinking. There are 2 things that really bother me about it. I feel that her professional relationships with men at her company have become more social than professional, and these networking events seem more like an excuse to go and hang out with other guys and drink. While many of them are married, I don't trust their intentions. Last week, my wife attended an event and we agreed she would be back by 12. I even went out of my way to make a point of asking her to be responsible and to limit the amount that she drinks. Well, 2 a.m. rolled around and there was no sign of her. She wouldn't respond to text messages. I could see she was still in the general area of the event, which was over an hour from our house. Finally, after calling a few times, she answered. I could tell she was extremely drunk. She told me she was staying at a hotel with one of her girlfriends, and I had to quickly remind her that I had to be up at 4:30 a.m. to get ready for work. Long story short, she took an Uber to the train and ended up driving her car home drunk. As if this wasn't bad enough, I noticed on her phone that she had very flirtatious text messages with multiple married and single men. I've really had enough of this career choice. She doesn't seem responsible enough to attend these events, and it is causing a big divide between the 2 of us. I'm really at a loss for what my next step should be. There was a similar situation a few months ago, and at that point, she had promised me she was going to control herself and be more responsible, but it's pretty obvious she is not able to do that. TLDR, my wife's job has turned into social hour events, drinking too much, flirting with other men, and it's putting a strain on our relationship. I've addressed my concerns. She apologizes and knows it's wrong, but keeps doing it anyway. Where do I go from here? I want her to quit. User Sabine Runs said, I'm sure I will get hate for this, but I find realtors and housing developers and frankly the whole industry to be full of the most shallow, narcissistic, and inappropriate people on the planet. I think it's time to have a serious sit down about boundaries and expectations for your marriage. If your wife can't get on board, you may have to separate. Under this comment, user Tenting said, yep, I feel like there could be a whole conversation about realtors and the trend that profession seems to be taking. It's almost like a crossbreed between multi-level marketing and a cult. I have a few acquaintances I'm still connected with on social media, folks I went to high school with years ago, who made the switch to real estate. They all communicate in this weird, hyper-positive, emoji-filled, obsessed with success language that immediately raises red flags and comes across as inherently untrustworthy. I've had the unfortunate experience of running into a few since they made this career change, and the way they talk is so blatant that every interaction is viewed through the lens of what they can extract from the person for their benefit. One wanted me to look into joining their company, which is legitimately set up like an MLM scheme, where they share profits with everyone under them. I'm not even in real estate and assume you need a license, but apparently it was viewed as appropriate to give that pitch. I imagine nearly every interaction that a particular person had with others went similarly. The facade they create as they delve deeper into the industry turns them into people who are unrecognizable. It's sort of ironic that realtors should be the middlemen for people making the largest purchase of their lives, but they are the sort of people I wouldn't trust in the slightest. Edit, to tie this into the topic at hand, I cannot imagine the atmosphere a social event with people like this would create. It would be the most bizarre, shallow, transactional event I could imagine. User Ryan MCL22 said, I think the problem is you are separating her from her career choice. There are plenty of real estate professionals who don't routinely get up and leave their hardworking spouse and kids home to flirt with other married and single people. Your wife is 100% the problem, not her career choice. I'd be close to divorce. If there's no intention to change from her, she will end up cheating on you. User RachMTL said, tell her she's pushing the boundaries of your relationship by messaging these other men, if not blatantly stepping over them. She also ignores your reasonable requests in terms of drinking and time to be home. This is disrespectful to you. She doesn't think about the safety of her kids if you had to leave early in the morning and they would have been left unaccompanied. This is disrespectful to you again and completely disregards your kids as a priority. Maybe the most important, she can't handle her drinking and makes poor decisions, resulting in her driving home drunk. This is incredibly dangerous to herself, but also anyone else on the road. It's just very selfish, and clearly the only person she's thinking about when she does this is herself. If none of those facts give your wife pause and make her reconsider how she behaves at these events, then it's time for you to consider divorce. If she sees she's been wronging you and your family, then the only course of action should be couples counseling first. You've clearly lost a lot of trust in your wife, and rightfully so, and she needs to work to gain that back. A little under 2 weeks later, OP gave us an update. I apologize, but my last post was deleted because I didn't title it properly. I received many requests for an update on our situation. I also want to thank all of the people who had positive and empathetic responses to my initial story. A lot has unfolded since my wife's night out. After noticing the flirtatious text messages, I asked my wife to see her phone. I told her I wanted to see what else she had written. She gave me access to her phone, and upon doing a deeper dive, I saw that the flirtatious messages went far beyond anything I would have expected. The man she was messaging had recently broken up with his girlfriend, and my wife's response to him was that things weren't going well in our marriage. I also found out that while we were on vacation in the area where he lives, she went to the gym and met this man there to work out. This news was devastating to me. Not only was I disgusted to find out that she met with him behind my back, but I was blindsided to see she mentioned to him that we were probably heading toward divorce. We had a difficult week after that. She was ashamed of her actions, the drinking, the messages to this man, and the meetup. She described that she feels like I hate her, which really hurts because I feel like I do everything I can to make her happy. She swore to me that nothing physical had happened. After looking through the messages, I do believe her. It seems that she didn't find out that he and his girlfriend broke up until he texted her after the gym. He actually stated in the messages that while he is attracted to her, he didn't want to get in the way of our marriage, and that he didn't want to be a distraction while she and I tried to work things out. I have to commend him for that. I told her that it was imperative that she confess if anything physical had happened. I was willing to work through anything, but if I found out later down the road that she lied, then she would not get another chance. I also discussed the importance of getting tested for the sake of our health and our children's health if anything happened. She was also on her period while we were away, so I'm confident there was no physical interaction. She has been adamant that nothing happened, but she knows what she did was wrong. She did agree to get tested to give me peace of mind, and everything was negative. I had a few sessions with my therapist, and she recommended a couples therapist for us. She also mentioned that she believes my wife has some deeper trauma that she needs to work through. It's obvious that her judgment is off, and that there may be some reason why she is acting out. My wife has since seen a therapist on her own, and we have sat with a couples therapist. Our first session with the couples therapist was very educational. She did a deep dive into our relationship from the beginning, the main reason that we sought her help, and laid out a treatment plan. Next week, we will be starting individual sessions with her, followed by couples sessions. We both know that there is a lot of work to do, but we are dedicated to making this work. I myself had a very unstable childhood due to my parents' divorce. When I made those vows to my wife, I fully intended to see them through, and I believe she did as well. I feel very confident after speaking to both therapists that couples can heal, move beyond an act of infidelity, and come out even stronger than before. I owe it to myself, my wife, and my children to do everything I can to commit to having a happy and healthy relationship. My wife is showing great remorse. She said she doesn't know why she does these things, but she knows it's wrong and she wants to stop. She is seeking the necessary help and knows she has a lot of work to do. She's fully aware of the damage she has caused. She knows I've lost the ability to trust her in social settings, and it's going to take a long time to earn that back. She has since ended any and all conversations with this guy. She has offered to quit her job. I'm not sure if that's going to help. I believe she does get a sense of purpose from it that she doesn't get at home. If she can't control herself at these work events, then I can't trust her to control herself anywhere. She had plans to go away for the yearly work retreat, national meeting, later in the year, but she has made the decision to cancel those plans. TLDR, I found more troubling messages from my wife to another man. We have taken steps to repair the marriage. We both have individual therapists and a couples therapist. We both want this to work and are committed to each other and our children. I'm honestly surprised that OP's wife actually allowed OP to read her phone, despite having those messages. This is probably the most respectful potential affair stories I've heard. I don't think OP needs to make any rash decisions right now since nothing actually happened. His wife has now made it clear that she feels somewhat neglected. The couple needs to seek therapy as soon as possible to try and salvage the relationship. If OP's wife actually slept with this other guy, then I would definitely think that divorce is the right choice. But to be clear, I would be on red alert. She was on the brink of cheating, and based on the wording, it seemed like the only thing stopping her was that other guy not wanting to be a homewrecker, and I also agree that real estate does have this odd aura around it. User Repulsive Worker 3636 said, I don't think things will work out unless she admits she has a drinking problem and changes her job. Her job will always be a trigger. She met the guy through her job and was willing to throw away your 10-year marriage for him. The fact that she told him that you're heading for a divorce means she already had one leg out of the door. User Fundiver3885 said, OP, I posted a longer comment on your other post, and you have answered a lot of that here. I do feel like she needs to leave real estate and find something that is more regimented and not a social job. The social aspects of that job may fit her personality, but are also feeding her weaknesses, and I don't know how you could ever, in good conscience, allow her to go to any social gatherings that led to a good bit of this. While it's true her self-control is key to any situation, it's also true that you don't send a drug addict to a weed dispensary and think all they need is self-control to handle it. She needs to swear off alcohol completely, or at least in any instances where you're not present. The national conference would be a hard no unless you're attending with her. She doesn't need to be in social situations that include drinking at all for the foreseeable future. She has a lot of work to do. This other man is what kept her from having a full affair, not her own control or moral compass. Hopefully, her words and actions will align completely, but don't trust what you can't confirm by action. Watch and be vigilant until you're sure she is in a better place. I also think a post-nuptial agreement is an absolute key here. She needs a cheating clause hanging over her head to help reinforce her resolve. During good times or right now while she is scared, she may do fine, but if she knows that cheating again will not only lead to divorce, but would also give you the house, 75% of all marital assets, and primary custody of your kids, then she won't cheat. If she does, it will be because she has suffered a mental break of some kind that is far worse than cheating alone. If she manages herself and rededicates herself to you, then the postnup is a non-event and just a piece of paper that won't hurt anyone. However, if she continues to make bad decisions, it protects you and your children. Lastly, I think the two of you need a romantic, kid-free long weekend away so you can talk about something else, do fun stuff together, and have some great sex to remind you why your relationship is so important to both of you. I truly hope it works out and you have many more years together. Please keep us updated. User Jinx the Chicken said, I'm glad you are trying to work it out. The only thing I find long-term concerning in all this is that she said during an emotional affair that you two were heading towards divorce. That means she was planning for it until she got caught. I hope you all are able to make it through all this for the sake of you both and your kids. User Miss Maria said, she told another man that you two were heading for divorce, emotional cheating, and she will do it again. Only next time your wife will be smarter about hiding it from you. There are now specific apps used by cheaters designed as a calculator or another boring tool so they can message one another. She's shown to you that she can only thrive on attention from other men. I say this as a 42-year-old woman. When I'm in a committed relationship, I only care about the attention of one man. Your wife has disrespected you tenfold. I could never forgive my spouse for this, but for your sake, I hope your marriage works out. I say this as nicely as possible. Have fun living with anxiety from day to day. User Such Detective 6709 said, yeah, that's real estate. I was only an assistant for a few years. Everyone was hustling and respectable by day, but it only took a few company events where I watched these tightly wound middle-aged horn dogs booze up and go at each other, every single one of them married with kids and perfect suburban lives. Two agents lunged at each other's faces smack in front of me, trying to reach for my drink at the bar. They'd make out at events and then go back to work like nothing happened. I stopped going after that. I don't think your wife needs to be in real estate. There's a reason these behaviors escalated after she became an agent. User Quick Commission 3679 said, "The same thing happened to me with my girlfriend's friend 7 years back. She behaved exactly like your wife. I didn't want to lose her, so we forgot everything happened between us, starting a fresh life, and everything went smoothly, and we are so happy. After 5 years, she again saw another man. He was not a previous man, and she fell for him. After that, we broke. I don't think you'll be able to see her again with the same feelings. You will always doubt even though she didn't do anything.